6 creative behaviour routines to engage your learners. Number 1, musical classroom management. So here's the thing. After a while, the kids get used to your voice. When you call them, they don't seem to respond anymore. And the reason is they just tune it out. So what you need is a sound that they're not expecting. Here's an example. Or even. And all of a sudden, you've got the kids' attention without saying a word. Now, I met a guy the other day who told me that he manages his classroom by xylophone. How on earth does he do that? Well, here's the thing. At the start of the year, he plays the kids 5 different tunes. And each tune means a different thing that they have to do. So, ding, 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 ding means please can everybody fall silent. He trains them up in these different tunes. So there's a tune for lining up, there's a tune for getting the resources out, and eventually, rather than using his voice to manage his classroom, all he has to do is get out his magic xylophone of classroom management. Number 2, imaginative transitions. Now, let's say you want to get the children from the carpet to their desks, or from the desks to a line ready to go to assembly. If you just get them to move normally, there'll probably be lots of shuffling around, lots of chatter, unless you insist they do it in silence. But if you use an imaginative reason for your transition, then you give them a reason to behave as you need them to. So a great one for the little tiny kids is to say to them, there's a giant sleeping under the floor, and we don't want to wake him up. So they tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe across the floor. Another nice one for the slightly older children is to tell them they're in outer space and there is no gravity. So as they move across the room, they're moving as though they're moving through outer space. By giving them an imaginative reason to control their movements, you're also building their sense of excitement, their sense of inspiration as well. So it's a win all round. Number 3, slow motion statues. Now, you're getting towards the end of a lesson or towards the end of the day, or you're just about to send the kids for a break. And you want them to tuck their chairs in under their desks before they head off. Normally when you do this, there's all kinds of noise and chaos and scraping and children chatting, and it's a surefire way to give yourself a headache. So, instead, tell them that you're going to ask them to freeze still like statues for 2 minutes. You can build up the level of challenge over time until you get them freezing for statues 10 minutes, something like that. Anyway, first time, 2 minutes. You say 3, 2, 1, freeze, and they're frozen like statues. Now, the key to this transition is that at the end of their statue time, you say to them, now, in slow motion, I want you to stand up and tuck your chairs in under your desks. And so they come out of their statue positions, and in slow motion, they tuck their chairs in super silently. Sorted. Number 4, quiet critters. This is one of my all-time favourite classroom management ideas. It's so inspirational. It's not my idea, by the way. Now, what you first of all need is you need to get yourself some quiet critters. Here's one I prepared earlier. Quiet critters are basically those little marketing tools that they give you, which is like a little fluffy ball with a tail. If you can't find enough of these, just get some fluffy balls online and give them some googly eyes. You will also need a glass tank, maybe an old fish tank, something like that. Fill up your fish tank with your quiet critters and put a cloth over the top. Then bring your tank into the classroom and place it on the side. And then you say to your children, quiet critters are very nervous critters, and the thing they're really nervous about is noise. Do you think you can be quiet enough so that I would be able to take the cloth off the tank. And the children are all desperate to see the quiet critters. What are they going to be like? So you take the cloth off the tank. Now, the quiet critters will come out of the tank and they will sit next to you, but they'll only do that if you're really, really quiet. Who in the room is lovely and quiet? Oh, Emily, you're super quiet. Come and choose a critter to sit beside you for this lesson. So basically, all you're doing is you're getting the children to respond imaginatively in the way that you need them to behave with your quiet critters. Number 5, Spongebob Shakespeare. Now, we all know about call and respond. You call something out to the children, they respond to you, and that's how you get their attention. But there's no need to stick to the boring old ones that we always use. Why not spice it up by appealing to your children by using their favourite cartoons? So one of the ones I use quite regularly is what I call Spongebob Shakespeare. So I'm going to call something out to the kids, and they have to call back to me the appropriate answer, but they have to do it in a Shakespearean style, just to spice things up a bit. So here we go. I go to the kids. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? And the children all call back to me, SpongeBob SquarePants. And that is Spongebob Shakespeare. Number 6, the timer technique. So you know that thing where you're teaching the class and they're lovely and silent when all of a sudden some noise bubbles up. So you find yourself having to pause. And you pause and they go silent again. And you continue teaching and then the noise bubbles up again. So here's a great technique to deal with that. This technique works really well because it shows the children how much time they are wasting. So you'll need a timer. I have a large timer. You could use a small one, but a large one always catches their attention. So I'm teaching the class when all of a sudden some noise bubbles up. So I flip the timer over and I wait for the children to fall silent again. After a few seconds they're silent, so I drop the timer on its side. And I point out to them that this is the learning time they're wasting. So I carry on teaching, and I'm teaching, and I'm teaching, and all of a sudden the noise bubbles up again. So I look quite sad. Flip my timer over again, more time being wasted. And then I pop it on its side as soon as they're silent. At the end of the session, this is the time they owe me, because that's the learning time they've wasted. By creating a concrete example of this abstract notion of time, you help small children understand how valuable it is.